Yo, what's going on, guys? R.I.Pierre here, using that max power turn on YouTube as usual, and today we have the GPC Draft Analysis for my team, the VCU Reshirams. Now, for those of you who don't know, I recently joined the league. It's very much similar to the PPL GPA things that you're seeing on things that some of you may have seen on the internet from for the past few months, I guess, the past year or something like that. I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is a different league called the GPC, the Grand Pokemon Conference. Everything takes place on Pokemon Showdown. Excuse my background, it's just stylish crash, so I just used a picture I like, so it's... Anyway, so, my team is the VCU Reshirams, GPC, we're 12 people, and I think I'm the last of us to do the draft analysis, so I'm actually trying to get this done a little bit quickly, and I think that's really all I have to say. So, leading off, we have Team Captain Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria has the ability Pixelate, and basically, the rest is history. You have Dragon Dance, Return, Earthquake, etc. There's standard set. It can do pretty much everything. So, what I was actually thinking of was actually taking Mega Altaria in the second round. Before thinking about it completely, I did not see how that would, wow, I completely screwed that up. I did not see how that would have been I don't see now how that would have been a good idea, especially since Zargs, who was right after me in the draft, decided he wanted to take Mega Altaria or Hydreigon in the first round, and since it's a snake draft, he would have been before me in the next round, so even if he took Hydreigon first, he would have gotten Altaria before me next time. But Altaria is one of the most threatening Mega Evolutions in the OE metagame at this moment in time, and that does not change for the GPC format. It's incredibly formidable Pokemon, and it has many different roles it can play. It could be a special sweeper, it could be a physical sweeper, wall breaker, whatever you really need out of it. That's what you're gonna get, and that's what led me to pick Mega Altaria in the first round. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria is the team captain. I do have a co-captain, but I'll reveal that later on. It's none of like the top picks, but I'm pretty sure when you see it, you'll understand. Anyway, that's Mega Altaria, the monster of this league, and we are going to go into my next pick. My second round pick was Doublade. Before I say that, Aegislash was actually unbanned by us by vote, by well, it wasn't a unanimous decision, but there was actually a tiebreaker at one point, but Aegislash was unbanned. So my thought process going into the second round was Doublade is a very threatening Pokemon, and it has uses in every tier, from RU to OU, and it obviously hits very hard, and it's very defensive as well, and can Swords Dance on a lot of different things and really just put dents in people's teams. So with Aegislash gone, I'm not even gonna say relatively early, it was literally the first pick Pokemon by Heracroshot or Nacho, and I thought, you know what, let me just take the Blade, make sure that I'm safely with it, because it does it does synergize well with Mega Altaria, and I really thought that I could use the Blade a lot. And looking at the teams looking at the other teams in the league, the Blade actually does a fair amount of damage, a fair amount of work against them, and I just felt really comfortable drafting the Blade in the second round. I really didn't see anything that I completely necessarily needed yet at this point, since it was only the second round, but the Blade is it has already helped me out a good amount, and it's definitely going to be very useful in the future as we move on. So now we move on to my third pick, Tornadus Therian. This was actually what I was thinking about for my first pick, but I was like, you know what, it's probably still going to be around for a while. I actually kind of didn't expect it to be around this long though, so I was like, you know what, let me just take it before nobody else gets it. And Tornadus Therian is probably my second favorite Pokemon in the entire OU metagame. Just the ability, it has Regenerator, runs a fantastic Assault Vest set. I've seen Life for it, but I've never used it, and yeah, I just love the ability it has to run an effective Assault Vest set with U-turn, and it can do a hell of a lot. I hate doing this, I hate stuttering, but it's very helpful to me. It has Focus Blast, Hurricane, and really just helps me to, it helps me to break stall, because with a combination of knockoff to get items off of Pokemon, plus you turning out and preserving energy with Regenerator, and I said energy, preserving HP with Regenerator, it's actually very, very useful to me. And being a singular bird typing, singular flying type, excuse me, I'm making a ton of mistakes right now. Being a singular flying type just gave it a little bit more, what's the word? A little more value to me. There we go, that's what it is. Considering I bought Doublade and Altaria, plus the fact that I'm going to be, throughout the draft, picking up ground weak Pokemon, and there really is nothing I can do about that. So I just thought Tornado Steep. Even though a lot of ground types will carry Stone Edge, I mean, still, it's helpful. Alright, so fourth I picked in the draft was Tyranitar. Now, I was actually very surprised it was going to stay around this long, but I ended up with it. So I got myself my T-Tar here. I really needed something physical, especially because Sysbit had actually chosen Talonflame. I actually had no intention of drafting Tyranitar, but he chose Talonflame. I was like, you know what, I need something that can switch into this. And lo and behold, T-Tar was still around. So that was actually very, very helpful to me. And yeah, I just need something that can wall Talonflame. It has a bunch of different uses. I could use Scarf, I could run utility, I could decide if I wanted to Stealth Rock 3 moves, etc, etc, which is Stealth Rock 3 moves what I tend to use the most, but I could also go Stealth Rock T-Wave 2 moves, or T-Wave 3 moves, etc, depending on what I do, because I also have 2 other Pokemon that can use Stealth Rock. So really, it just came down to me wanting something to deal with Talonflame and basically also be a defensive presence while also being an offensive presence. There we go. That's what I was looking for. But in Sand, its special defense is 1.5 times, and its defense is already really, really raised. So I needed that, and that's all I have to say. Now, next up we have Swampert, Mr. Team Player himself. Now, I was actually going to draft Seismitoad, and I'm really kind of kicking myself for not getting it instead of Swampert. But I guess at the time I was thinking about having more defenses and really just, I don't know, I really wanted another special attacker, which is what I was talking about with Seismitoad. They do have the same special attack, but Swampert does not have the same type of move pool. It does get Sludge Wave, like most of the offensive, wow. The offensive Stealth Rock set for Seismitoad is Stealth Rock, Sludge Bomb, and Scald. Stealth Rock, Sludge Bomb, Scald, and Earth Power, if I'm not mistaken. And that's actually a very good move pool. With Life Orb, it can OHKO specially defensive Heatran with Earth Power, so that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Seismitoad. But Swampert was a pretty good choice for me. I just need something else that can run Stealth Rock, just in case I was going to run like Scarf Tyranitar or something like that. Although my next pick also has Stealth Rock, but I am kind of trying to use it as only a Rapid Spinner and maybe a Spike Stacker, so you can probably understand who is next, but just by that assumption alone. And yeah, so I just need something that could be defensive and also have an offensive presence, kind of like Tyranitar, only Tyranitar is going to be, for me, I'm probably going to run more offensive than anything else, and just Swampert is really going to be more defensive. What I bring is probably going to be like Stealth Rock and other stuff. A little bit more of a utility mon. I'm trying not to give away too much, so I'm just going to move on. So next up we have Fortress. Fortress I can do a lot with. One is my Rapid Spinner. 2, it could also have Stealth Rock. I could also run Spikes if I have a Stealth Rocker already, and it actually has a decent move pool for coverage, just in case, like for specific teams, because everybody knows the team they will be playing against. For them, well, you don't know the 6 mods they're gonna bring, but you know for the most part the team that they're going with. You know the mods they have to choose from, so you can plan accordingly. Things like that, like for example, I could run Heavy Slam on Fortress if I know my opponent has like a fairy that could use a fire type of etc. that it would want to bring in or something like that, something to that effect. That's not really, it's not a great example, but it is the example I'm going to go with. It also has Earthquake. Volt Switch helps me out quite a bit, and paired with Tornado's Teak gives me a nice little bit of a Volt turn going, and plus this Volt turn allows me to get out of a lot of bad situations. Like, for example, something switches in on Fortress, I can Volt Switch, I click Volt Switch just to get out, and keep Fortress at max HP, keep Sturdy intact, and it helps me out quite a bit later on, as especially if I can bring Fortress on the Stealth Rock, on the incoming Stealth Rock, because then I don't take any damage from anything whatsoever. And the Sturdy is very, very helpful in this format, at least from what I've experienced of it so far. So I'm gonna pause this for a second, and then I will get into the last six Pokemon of my draft. I will be right back. And we have returned. So next up we have Meloetta, the team's co-captain, just because she's one of my mascots. So Meloetta I chose for a good amount of for a decent amount of reasons. One, its move pool is good enough to the point where I can run a spec set and pretty much hit anything that wants to switch, basically. Hyper Voice plus Psychic already hits almost everything in the game, and then Shadow Ball really just hits everything else. So that's pretty much Meloetta's use. Specs, I could run Life Form, I could run Sub CM with Leftovers. I could do a lot of things. I could also run Pirouette Form with Relic Song, although I just like using that. But if it is necessary, I will. It's a very, very versatile Pokemon. It can do a lot of things, and it's got niches in OU and UU as well. And it's one of my favorites. I really would have kicked myself if I had not drafted Meloetta. And plus, it really does a lot for the team as far as being the special attacker my team was lacking at the moment, without having to spend too many points, and still having a good amount of, it has a great amount of HP, a very nice special attack, special defense stat, and a very usable speed stat. And I just really needed something that could hit hard, especially at this point, considering most of my draft was physical Pokemon. So that's where the Meloetta idea came in from, and that's what happened. Meloetta is just awesome. Like, if you don't have Meloetta, you know, life isn't worth. Okay, let me stop. Let's move on. We have Spiritomb. Now, this was really I needed some more special defense. I realized I had a good amount of physical defense on the team already, but I needed some more special defense, and Spiritomb has both defense and special defense, as well as being a decent offensive presence while not being completely there. I can run Black Glasses, Infiltrator, etc., etc. And has a low HP stat with high defenses, decent attacks, and low speed. Now, yeah, I was gonna say like my set of choices, blah 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 blah, but I'm not trying to give away too much. So, Spiritomb, its abilities are Pressure and Infiltrator, and of course, Infiltrator is gonna be used more often. Not trying to get subbed up on and just destroyed. Then, what was I saying? I really just need something that was specially defensive at this point. I think I said that just a few seconds ago, but I'm just reiterating. Spin Blocker, also status, and really just, yeah, that's its job. It's a support mon with some, well, for me, it's a support mon that can do a good amount of damage for me. It does a good amount of damage, and helps me block rapid spins. So that's it for Spiritomb. Next up, we have Emboar. Emboar recently got access to its secondary ability, which is Reckless. Hidden ability, there we go. Hidden ability Reckless. With its move pool consists of 3 moves that are boosted by Reckless, which are Wild Charge, Head Smash, and Flare Blitz. Getting stabbed from Flare Blitz, of course. Head Smash doesn't need stab. You got that Reckless boost, and it just absolutely demolishes teams. At least for the 3 hits Emboar can stay alive for. And you've got Superpower for stab plus coverage. And you can run Choice Band or Choice Scarf. I'm not even going to say what I prefer. I was going to say people are going to watch this. I mean, I need to stop. But, yeah, so basically, This thing, I bought it in just because I needed a mon that I could run a Scarf or a Band for, and that could really just do a good amount of a really solid amount of damage instantly. Let me turn that off. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I didn't even turn the right thing off. Anyway, so I was lacking a mon that could just come in and hit hard immediately, and that role was filled by Emboar as I took it off the draft board. It took me a long time to think about what I wanted to draft next, because I was actually thinking about Miss Magius, but then I looked at Spiritomb and I was like, you know what, I don't need Miss Magius. I mean, if I wanted her that badly, I would have taken her in the round before, but I took Spiritomb, and Spiritomb is very solid himself. So I went with Emboar just for something that can come in, hit hard, get out, or sacrifice, basically. Now, my next two are going to seem like duplicates, kind of, but not really. Now, we have Lilligant. Lily. Pardon. But, I don't know what I heard that. But, wow, I completely forgot what I was going to say. Lilligant has the ability to set up a Quiver Dance. It's also got access to Sleep Powder and, well, and Healing Wish, which is very, very good for me. In NU, it was A+ or S for a while. It still is A+, but it was S for a little while, just because of the sheer power it possesses after Quiver Dancing. It has Sleep Powder, which basically, if it hits, guarantees you at least one Quiver Dance, and it really does a good amount to a lot of different Pokemon. Now, in this format, it is kind of matchup based as to whether or not I want to bring Lilligant and risk that, because it does not possess amazing defensive stats. It's like 70 defense, 70 special defense, I think. And it does possess the same speed as Meloetta at 90, with an okay HP stat and a pretty good special attack stat. Modest Life Orb is very nice with Quiver Dance, but could also go Timid just in case the matchup calls for it, just calls for the extra speed. But Lilligant really was just there. Another example of me just taking another special attacker that can do something. Plus, my team was very, very weak to ground, although Lilligant is not going to survive 3 earthquakes, I don't think anyway. So, that's really all I have to say about Lilligant. I just need something. It helps me out. It helps me to have something that can set up if necessary, if it's necessary for me to have that type of mod with me at that moment. So, moving on to the 11th pick, the second to last pick, I took Virizion. Now, I was thinking about, at the time I was thinking, oh man, it's kind of like a duplicate of Lilligant. But, thinking about it again, I took this because, one, I was really fearing that ground weakness that I currently had, but switching into that also allows me to set up, hopefully, because the defense isn't really there. But Virizion could run a workup set, a workup mix set, a completely physical like Lumberry Swords Dance set, or a Life Orb Calm Mind set. It can do a bunch of different things very well offensively, while also possessing a very high special defense stat of 129, a good speed stat of 108, and a let me see what its HP stat is. You're probably not going to see this though. A 91 base HP stat, which is also very passable. And I really like Virizion. I mean, I really don't. I should stop doing this, but I don't really draft Pokemon I don't like. I don't know. I just can't. But Virizion's a very good Pokemon. I'm very, very interested in how I'm going to be able to use it in the future. But for now, it's sitting there at that 11th slot, and I'm ready to tap into that untapped potential. Excuse me again. Now, for the final pick of my VGC. For the final pick of my GPC draft, I chose Stoutland. Now, I needed a Pokemon that has I wanted a Pokemon that has Sand Rush. I originally wasn't going to draft the 12th Pokemon, but I was like, you know what? I have the extra points. Let me go ahead and draft one. Because as you see, no Pokemon in the second half of my draft was worth more than 6, which was Meloetta and Emboar, because they're RUA Pokemon. Spiritomb and Virizion are RUB. Lilligant is NUA and Stoutland is NUB, being the least valued Pokemon on my entire roster. Now, Stoutland possesses 85 base HP, 110 base attack, 90 defenses, and 80 speed. It also possesses the abilities Intimidate, Sand Rush, and Scrappy. all of those are actually very good abilities, but the one I'm going to be focusing on is Sand Rush. I have the Tyranitar. I'm basically telling you what I am. You know what? I completely forgot what I was going to say there. I might cut that. No, I'm not going to cut that. You know what? I'm human. We all make mistakes. But, Stoutland, basically, it has Sand Rush there, and the fact that I have Tyranitar and I wasn't going to be able to get Excadrill, it was actually taken the turn before I was supposed to go. I actually wasn't thinking about Excadrill though, because of the fact that I really wanted to spare my points, and the draft actually ended up going pretty much the way I wanted. Lilligant was kind of a stretch play, but everything else actually went the way I wanted it to. Now Stoutland is just here to basically abuse the sand that Tyranitar will bring, and depending on my opponent, I just need Stoutland to come through at times and just outspeed and out-hit with Stab Frustration, or if necessary, like Retaliation. I might actually do that and have it be a Revenge Killer instead. And it also has a decent move full with Crunch. It has Wild Charge, it also has Superpower, and it's just very useful. It's a very useful Pokemon for me to have. I do have to mitigate the fighting weakness when I bring it though, so hopefully I can make this work. I'm really excited about it though. So that is actually going to conclude my draft of Season 1 of the GPC. I do hope you guys all enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the Twitters of all of the other GPC members will be in the description below, so I want you all to go follow them if you are not following them already, of course. And follow me if you haven't already. My Twitter will be at the top of the description, because, you know, that's how I roll. I think I've covered pretty much everything. I'm good. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this little draft analysis. I will have a My Thoughts video on Aegislash's Suspect coming up pretty soon. I don't know if I want to upload it Friday, because I think that's the day that we're supposed to upload our first round GPC matches. And I might double upload that day. We'll see. But until we meet again, alright, peace out, and I'll catch you all later. Bye.